Hi, welcome back to this Power Automate Getting Started with Power Automate series. Now, in the previous video, we were introduced to Power Automate, the interface, and some of the things we can do on the platform. Now, in this video, we'll be going through the ABCs of flows and we'll be building our very first automated cloud flow in today's video. Now, on my screen, we have a simple Microsoft form in which we provide users the ability to type in their name, their email, and just a short description. Now, this is a typical form process where you send out information and you need to collect information from a specific user. Now, I know one thing that we normally think of, oh, now we've collected the information from this particular user. Why don't we send an email to that user like, oh, your details were received. Thank you very much for sending us this information. What can we go about doing that? Now, with the aid of Power Automate, we can do something like that. We can customize a thank you message, or we can customize a next course of action message with Power Automate, and we can build this flow in a nice and easy step without any writing any single line of code. Now, so how can we start it? How can we get started? So if you go to Power Automate on my screen, yes, so you'll be logged into Power Automate on my screen. You come to the create sections. We have we have this set of flows on my screen. Now we are going to talk on the ABCs, or rather, let me tell me the core component of any flows we have on Power Automate. Now, the core component of cloud flows which we have on Power Automate are we have the triggers, we have the connectors, we have the actions, and we have the dynamic content. So these are core components for building basic flows. Now, as you go on more advanced, you have expressions and condition logic, which as we proceed in our Power Automate journey, we will be exploring them as well. But for the basic, to build out basic simple flows, you need to know what a trigger is, what an action is, what your connectors are, and what your dynamic content are. Now, triggers are what kickstart up a flow. So a flow, an automation is basically run based on a specific thing. Now we have it if it's based on a specific event. In this scenario, when somebody fills a form, you have an example of an automated cloud flow. So this is based on an event occurring. Somebody creates a new document, somebody moves a file, somebody edits a previous document. You want that flow to run as something it happens. That is an automated cloud flow. Now you have a scheduled cloud flow. If you want your flow to run at specific date, specific time, specific minutes, specific hours, you can create a scheduled cloud flow. So this flow runs based on the duration that you set for your flow to run. Now you have instant cloud flow. So this is with the click of a button. You have a flow that you yourself you want to manage. You don't want it to, yes, you have series of actions you want to be automated, but you want to manage it yourself. You want to click on the button to kickstart those flows. So these are the three types of triggers, three core type of trigger flows which we have. Automated based on a specific event, instance based on based on you manually triggering it, and schedule based on a specific time or duration. So your triggers are what kickstart off your flow. They are basically what tells Power Automate, okay, let's do something. Now, in this specific use case scenario, what we want to achieve, remember, somebody fills out a form. We just want to let the person know, yes, we received the necessary details. We will proceed according to the details the user has filled. Now, what we need is when this person fill this form, because this form will be shared with the general public, it should send an email to that person, letting the person know we've received the necessary details from them. It's just to for user experience, so that people don't just fill forms and they feel, oh, they are left alone. So let's build out this simple flow. Now, when you click on a automated cloud flow, so this triggers based on a specific event. The first thing you have is flow name. So you give the flow a name. So just for the sake of this flow, I'll call it form details. So you give it a name. Now you have triggers, so specific events. Remember, we're having an automated cloud flow. Now you have specific events you can trigger this flow by. Now, if you search, you can click on this search. You can set for your specific trigger what type of event should happen. Right now, I can see when a new response is submitted, this is Microsoft form. When somebody creates something on SharePoint, I can see that. When somebody creates a file on OneDrive, I can see this. So this give me ideas on specific automated triggers which I can use for my flow. Now, in this use case scenario, we just have a simple when somebody fills out a form. So Microsoft form, when somebody fills out a new response on a form, I can select this and I can click on create. And click on create. Now, the moment I've done that, we have this we have this flow set up on my screen. You can see it's showing invalid connection, so please fix. When I click on this, when I click on this form, for example, this is the connection that we have. So connections are how your is what lets your website what lets Power Automate speak to your specific sites, your specific device as well. In this case, Microsoft Form. So what your connectors does is you have to sign into that specific platform for Power Automate to be able to use it. So that's what your connectors does. Now, right now you can see my connection is there because it has already signed me automatically to my account. But if it's your very first time, you may need to sign up. Just sign in to your Microsoft Forms, your Office.com forms, and you'll be able to get that done. Now, the next thing I need to do is provide it with a form ID which represents the form that I've created. I have this flow automation, that's the name of the form. Now that I've selected it, the next thing I can do is when a new response is submitted, I can get response details. This is what people submitted. So if you see under this search icon, you have actions. So after your flow has been triggered, trigger is what starts your flow. What do you want to happen next? That's what your actions are. That's what your actions basically does. So right now, when somebody fills out the form, I want to get the details of the person that has filled out the form. Now, Power Automate is so intuitive that you can set based on that specific word and you can get that done. Or you can set based on the specific application you have for the actions you want to take, and you can get that done. Now, in this particular scenario, I want to get the response that was submitted. So I can see get response details for Microsoft Form. I can select this. Now it's telling me to sign in. I should sign into the form. Once I sign into the form, I should be good to go. I just need to provide it with the form ID, which I have here, the unique identifier of the response. So right here under this, I can click on this drop down, this icon below this icon. This icon here is representing expression. This your lightning icon represent dynamic content. I can click on this dynamic content and I can get the response ID from the submitted form. So the dynamic content, what dynamic content are, is the output of your specific trigger or your actions. That's what your dynamic content are in essence, just simply as that. So in this case scenario, when somebody fills out a new form, I want to get the output of that form with this get response details. The moment I've gotten the output of that form, I can add another action to send an email. So I'll just send this email to the person that filled the form. Send an email. You have various options for send an email. In this case, I'll be using Office 365 Outlook. Select it. Now, under this send an email, I can specify who do I want to send it to. I can click on this drop down, enter custom value, and select this lightning icon, dynamic content. So this provides me with the email of whoever responded. So this is the email. Subject, let me just call it reply or so, reply notification. But you can call it based on your specific use case scenario. Then let's create a simple message. Hi, you type the name, you can click on this lightning icon to get the name of whoever has submitted. So that's what your dynamic content does. You can keep a comma. Thank you for filling out the form. Regards. Now you can just do this is just a simple example. Moment you created this, you can save your flow, which is this save flow. The moment you save it, now it's one thing you should always check is this flow checker. This flow checker helps you to see if there are errors in your formula, errors in your flow logic, or errors in your flows before you go out to ditch them or save them to a working process. So right now we have this simple process. When somebody submits a form, we should get the details of what the person has submitted, and we should just send an email to that person that about the form that has been submitted. So to check this flow in action, you can click on this test icon, or we could just go to the form and we fill out the details. Now this test icon will tell us to do that, right? Click test flow, we have manually. So perform the starting action to trigger it. That's what it says. Then click on test. Now, so right here, I have to come to the flow, come to this form. Let me just click on preview so I can fill in details. And I'll just fill my name, just so I'll just fill out my email. Let me just fill out an email and description. So demo. I just fill this out. The moment I submit, I can see my flow was sent successfully. My flow sent successfully. So this is the mail that was sent to Joseph Fadero. So this was the mail that was sent, and this is how it was sent. So the flow is working. So please stay tuned for subsequent videos on Power Automate and various use case scenario on building out with Power Automate. Remember, the key thing to know to build out any almost any flows you have in Power Automate is your trigger, which kickstart your event, your actions, which occurs after your trigger. So something should happen after your flow has been triggered. That's what your action is. Your dynamic content, which shows you the output of a specific trigger or an action. This helped us to add Joseph to this list, for example, and add his email of the person that has filled. So if there are 20, 30 people that have filled, this email will be sent to all 30 or 20 of 30 or 40 of them. So that's what the dynamic context could help us. And connection. So for your app to be connected to one another, you need to sign in to these specific connectors. Your office, your forms connectors, you need to sign in to those tools as well. So please stay tuned to the subsequent videos. We'll be building out a we have interesting use case scenarios for us on Power Automate as well. So please stay tuned, leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.